Are you unimpressed with your stock Jeep JK headlights? And is nighttime visibility important to you? Well, here at Trail 7, we found the perfect solution for you. Hey guys and gals, Mike here with Trail 7, and today we're going to talk about Oracle's line of Oculus lights for your Jeep JK, years 2007 to 2018. So Oracle Oculus has three lights for your Jeep JK. They have the regular 7-inch bi-LEDs, they have the 7-inch switchbacks, and they have the 7-inch Colorshift. The 7-inch bi-LEDs have a constant DRL, daytime running light. The 7-inch switchbacks have a constant white DRL as well as an amber flash when you turn your turn signals on. And the 7-inch Colorshift, which is what we're going to install today, have a whole light show with different color zones, etc., which we'll get into. All three have a 2-year factory warranty. All three have 36 watts of power to each light fixture. And all three have 5,200 lumens. And they're all three DOT compliant. Now we're going to show what comes in the box. Of course, your Oracle Colorshift light, your cable to run your constant DRL, your one BC1 controller, your power fuse connector for your constant DRL. Also, what comes in the box are these 10 cables. The way that they are intended to wire together requires for you to splice them together. All right, what here at Trail 7 has done is completely removed that and come up with the easy solution, because that's what we do. With these cables here, these will replace all of that, plugging into your one BC1 controller. So this will make it truly a plug-and-play system. One BC1, 3 of the wire harnesses, your DRL, your power fuse, your Oracle light. Let's go ahead and get the install started. All right, everyone, now it's time for the fun part. Let's go ahead and get the Oracle Oculus Colorshift lights installed in this 2017 Jeep JK. So for this install, we're gonna need a 10mm socket, a trim remover tool, a crimper. You need a torque bit, a T-bit, and this is a T15. However, I have heard others that need a T14. So it's either going to be a T14 or a T15. This one happens to be a T15. Of course, our headlights. I have additional BC1 controllers off to the side here, which after we get through with our initial installation, I'm going to show you something really cool and show you what these lights can really do with all of their color effects. So for this install, I have the 3 easy wire harnesses, which will be available by Trail 7. We have the one BC1 controller that comes with the Oculus Colorshift lights. We have the one Add-A-Fuse little cable whip here that does come with the Oracle Colorshift lights. And we have the cable wire to run for the DRL that also comes with the light kit. And you'll see the stock headlight trim ring is a silver ring, a silver chrome ring. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've replaced the stock silver trim ring, which you'll see when I take them apart, with a black trim ring, and we'll make that available for you as well. Also do grab a handful of longer zip ties and a handful of shorter zip ties. These are 8-inch zip ties, these are 10-inch zip ties, and I'll show you why. The longer zip ties do come in handy when you're installing the wire harness. For this Jeep here also, this Jeep was equipped with a winch, so we've gone ahead and removed that. If you have the stock bumper, you of course won't have that, and there are some other bumpers with winches where the winch sits lower, where you don't have to remove it. We had to remove it in order to get to the Jeep grill, which does need to come off. So let's go ahead and get started. So there are 6 push pins along top here. Go ahead and take our trim tool, start right here. All right, we have the 6 push pins out. Let's go ahead and set these aside. And we no longer need the trim tool. Now we're ready to take the grill off the Jeep. Go ahead and pull the top of it down. As you're pulling the top down, it'll unsnap a little bit. To remove the parking lights, and you're gonna push down on this, and you're gonna pull the light right out of the housing. And then you're gonna duplicate the same process on the other side. Now go ahead and grab the bottom of the grill and pull out, and we're gonna set the grill aside over here. Now that we have the grill off, it's time to take the stock headlights out of the housing. So go ahead and grab your T15. Go ahead and unscrew the torque screws. There's 4 surrounding the housing. Now once you have your screws taken out, go ahead and pull the whole fixture out. The trim ring should pop right off. If it doesn't pop right off, that's fine. In this case it does, it just comes right off. All right, so in order to disconnect the factory housing from the factory wire harness, push this red tab up, push this little button back behind the red tab, and just push out. And it slides right out. And we're gonna do the same exact thing over to the driver's side of the Jeep. Let's take a look at the comparison between these two lights. This is of course the stock light, and this is of course our Oculus Colorshift light. And as you'll see here, there is an outer ring, there is a middle ring, there is a demon eye ring, which again, later on, I'm gonna show you exactly what all 3 rings can do with our multiple BC1 setups. All right, so now let's go ahead and get installing. So these are literally plug and play. The Oculus lights comes with the connector to connect to the factory Jeep harness. So we're gonna go ahead and plug this in now. This just slides right in. Go ahead and pull the wires through so the connectors are accessible on the top side here. And tuck the main cable back. Align the Oculus lights tabs with the bracket. And that just seats right there. You'll notice it says DOT on top. That's what you want. Let's go ahead and grab one of our rings. Line the rings up with your holes. And reinstall the T15 screws. Driver side light is in, and we're going to duplicate the same process on the passenger side. All right, now we have the headlights in the Jeep. The connectors are ready for us, and let's go ahead and get wiring. The only connector that isn't just plug and play is for the daytime running light. All right, so let's go ahead and crimp this guy in here and slide that into the butt connector. So let's go ahead and install one cable at a time, right? So let's start with our RGB cable. And this is a Y harness. This is going to connect the driver to the passenger, which is going to run up to the battery and the fuse. I'll start over on this side. Each one of these is labeled with what it is. So there is the label on here that says DRL driving mode. When we connect these, it's very important to line up the arrows. So there's an arrow on each side. And it's really important to make sure we get the arrows lined up. And then I'll just slide right in, and it twists in for a nice watertight connection. So I'm going to swing this up here because that's going to end up in the battery in the fuse box. And let's go ahead and run this side over to the driver side. And again, all of these tags represent the location, what it is. So there is one that is labeled DRL driving mode. Again, I'll emphasize to really make sure that we have the arrows lined up. And go ahead and screw that in. You can leave this hanging up front. We have 3 more cables that we're going to connect together, and at the end we'll tuck them in, zip tie them together, and so forth. Now let's go ahead and grab one of our easy plug and play Y harnesses. The long side is going to go to the driver side. The short side is going to go to the passenger side. Let's go ahead and install this to the driver side. And for this part, it doesn't matter which one of the connectors that it connects to on the light. They're all going to have the same function. It's not until later that you're going to need to segregate them out. Again, that can just hang right in front there. Connect the other side of it, which is the short side. This side is going to be left out because this is the side that's going to connect to the BC1 controller in a minute. So just pick any one of the 3 leftovers, ensuring that you match up the arrows. And you can run this up and hang this over the fender as well. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Now let's go ahead and get our BC1 controller attached to the battery. Let's go ahead and get our DRL cable attached to the fuse panel. For the BC1 controller, again, you're going to receive 1 BC1 controller out of the box. Your red and your black cable. Let's go ahead and connect those to the battery. We're going to use our 10mm socket. get our ground connected. Let's go ahead and connect our power. And tighten these guys down. The BC1 also comes with these little dummy loads. Comes with 3 of them. You're going to need just 1 of them, so keep those aside. So now that our BC1 is connected to the power, we're going to connect the 3 ends that we brought up. Set aside the 1 daytime running light cable that has the add a power fuse to it. Set that aside. And we're only going to need the 3 that we brought up. So again, it doesn't matter which one you terminate into the BC1 controller. So on this side, you're just matching arrows to arrows. And do the same thing for the other 3. All right, let's go ahead and install the dummy connector onto the last open port. Arrow to arrow. All right, the dummy connector is connected. Let's go ahead and connect our DRL cable. Again, this comes with the add a power little pigtail here. We're going to open our fuse box. This is going to go into slot M9. Also, it's very important that this fuse gets installed in only one way. This is a directional fuse, so it does have to be installed this way like this. If it's installed the other direction, it won't work. Your DRLs won't come on. So if you do have an issue with your DRL not coming on, go ahead and check this fuse first to make sure that this is routed the correct way. All right, so now the fuse is installed. If you close the lid, it's going to pinch the cable, pinch the wire. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to snip a little piece of the trim here on the inside, like so. Just take a little piece out, just for that cable to sit down inside of. There we go. And let's get our 10 mil back out and attach this. All right, all the cabling is done, everything is connected. Let's just go ahead and turn the lights on. Make sure the headlights turn on. Headlights are on. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the Jeep on to make sure the daytime running lights are on. And let's go ahead and connect the app so we can test to make sure that the colors light up. So the app that we're going to use is called Happy Lighting, and it's this app here. It's going to ask if you want to use Bluetooth. Yes, we do. And now it's connected. Let's test it, turn it on, and there we go. So as you can see, you have 3 light zones. It's easy to see the 2 light zones. There is an additional demon eye in the middle here. You have the demon eye, you have the inner ring, and you have the outer ring. Since we installed 1 BC1, all 3 zones are controlled with 1 function. You can flip in between. And it has multiple options. It'll actually go to voice. So if you're talking, it's going to change to your voice. It'll also go to music. It'll also do all sorts of different effects. All right, so the lights work, the daytime running light works, the colors work, so everything is connected properly. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install a couple of other BC1s to show you exactly what these lights can do. If you bought just the bundle with the out-of-the-box 1 BC1 as it comes, the installation for you is completed here. Go ahead and skip ahead to the wire management and the conclusion portion of the video, and you'll see how we wrap it up and tie up the video. Now, if you did opt for the other BC1 add-ons and you want to see how we're going to wire that in to where you can see all 3 light functions at separate zones, you can control all 3 zones, then this part's for you. So let's get into that. All right, so now we're going to install 2 more BC1s. Remember, out of the box, it came with 1 BC1. We installed the 3 zones into 1 BC1, which as you saw, showed 3 color zones with 1 color. It's not possible to change the colors using the 1 BC1 wired that way. So we're going to install 2 more BC1s. Out of the box in a BC1, you're going to receive the BC1, of course, a couple of other cable harnesses that are not needed, but you are going to also receive the dummy connectors, which you are going to now need. I'm going to install the BC1 connectors first to the battery, and then we're going to play with the cable wires here because there is a little bit of a syncing that needs to take place to make sure that they're all connected to the right one. So what I've done here is I have labeled each BC1 with a number. So I've called this one BC1 1, I've written it on the bottom, I've written BC1 2 on the bottom, and I've written BC1 3 on the bottom. So let's go ahead and get the other two connected to the battery now. Try to line them up where they're stacked on each other, separating the wires to not get tangled up. Let's go negative first. We have our 10mm socket. The other two controllers. Grab our positive leads. All right, now we have 3 BC1 controllers connected to the battery. All of them are labeled BC1 1, BC1 2, and BC1 3. I would disconnect the single setup that we had from the previous portion from the BC1s, and now all 3 BC1s are disconnected. Go ahead and disconnect the cables from this side. So what I'm going to do is, I told you earlier I labeled them 1, 2, and 3 just to keep track of which zone we're in. I'm going to call the middle demon eye 1, I'm going to call the middle ring 2, and I'm going to call the outer ring 3. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start with 1, connecting to BC1 1, which is going to be the demon eye. These tags are listed with which zone they're for. So reading on the tag here, this says inner halo. On the tag here, this says outer halo. And the tag here, this says demon eye. So pick one of the connectors. Make sure that you line up arrow to arrow and plug it in. Grab this same cable, coming over to this side. This is number 1. Set that down. It's actually plugged into demon eye already, so that's good. So this connects from demon eye to demon eye as number 1. This side of it, go to BC1 number 1 and connect to any one of the cables. It doesn't matter, any one of the wires, matching arrow to arrow, and then tightening it in. Now we're going to move on to zone 2, which is the inner ring, which actually, if you can see, the app is obviously on because the demon eye illuminated on both lights. So now we're going to move to the inner ring, which on here is called the inner halo. Now we're going to move to the inner halo. Grab one of the other Y harness cables that you have lying here. Match up your arrow to your arrow. Plug it in, tighten it down, trace it over, which is this one here. And this is terminated into inner halo, actually. Coincidentally, that's working out really well. Now take inner halo, which is number 2. Go to BC1 number 2. The inner ring is not illuminating because the app was only set up for 1 zone, which will go back into and program the app for the 2 other zones. That app, Happy Lighting, can control 4 zones. You only need 3 here. Grab the last wire that is not connected and just confirm that this is the outer halo. Trace this one back just to confirm that it is into the outer halo, which is this one here. That is an outer halo, and plug this one into BC1 number 3. Let's go ahead and get the app synced up, and then we can show you what the 3-zone lightings will do for you. All right, now that we have the wiring done, let's go ahead and get the app synced in. You turn the app on that you've already loaded, Happy Lighting. It's going to go ahead and pick up all 3 zones. So it's automatically going to connect to all 3. So if you go to the 3 dots, it's going to show all 3 zones. I would recommend renaming each zone so later on you know which zones you're turning on and off. And you can do that just by selecting one zone off, other zone on, turning it off, and finding out that's the outer ring, the one that's left on. So we can rename that one and so forth. All right, so let's just show what this thing does here. So there's 3 zones, and you can independently control the 3 zones with the 3 BC1 controllers that we just did. So as you can see here, the outer ring is red, the inner ring is blue. You can turn the outer ring, inner ring, and the demon eye any different colors that you want to. Outer ring pulse at a different portion than the inner ring. Can change the color of the inner ring, changing colors on the inner ring as it pulses. As you can see, you can completely customize any different different colors, different designs. You can have it dance around. It'll sync up with your music so it can dance to your music. It's really neat. It's really whatever you can think of to do with 3 different color zones, you can do it all within the app here. So as you can see, the styling effects when you have 3 BC1 controllers connected are pretty endless. So let's go ahead and get this buttoned up, and you can get out there and show all your friends what you've done. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap up our cable management. So what I would do is I would start on the driver's side, and I would keep all of the connectors in one area, so that way if you need to access them at a later point, you can. So I'm going to tuck them up underneath this area here. This is where zip ties come into play. You can tuck the connectors right behind the headlight there. What you're going to want to do is lift your hood stand up. Bring that around so your cables are on the inside of it. We're going to end up lifting this up and zip tying it to this front bar here. Go ahead and install a couple of ties. All right, so for this can just lift right underneath here and tuck right in between. Same thing, just wrap right around here. This is where I said to grab the longer zip ties. So we can zip tie this to the back of this, just so that's secure. Now what I would do is I would separate the BC1 wires, which is going to be the big bulk here, from the individual DRL cable. And by separate, I just mean it's a different length. It makes it a lot easier. And this can really just tuck down in between here. All right, so as you get over here, what I would do is I would disconnect this little box here. Just pull this tab out, pull that wire out so you can wrap things around here and leave it out for the rest of the cable management. That's gonna be very helpful. And so I would separate the connectors to where they're all easily accessible in case at a later time you needed to make some changes. I like to get everything bundled up. All right, something here also. Since all of your BC1s had 4 connectors on it and you only used 1 on each side, you're gonna have 3 empty spaces. So each BC1 comes with 3 additional of these little the dummy loads. So go ahead and install the dummy connectors onto each of the BC1 empty slots. Now you've got it all zip tied, all of your ends are fastened up with the dummy loads. Let's go ahead and tuck the BC1s away. Tuck the power cables behind the, right in between the battery and the wheel well here. There's plenty of space there. Just stack the BC1 connectors together and they can all slide right down in there together. There's plenty of space in there. The extra cabling can come back around, and a little bit of it can tuck in front of the fuse panel. You can wrap around the fuse panel. You can tuck there. It's really a matter of just finding whatever routing is going to work out best for you. Right, this Jeep has an aftermarket air filter on here. The routing is going to be a little bit different. So it's just a matter of finding what route works out best without getting in the way of the hood closing down. And that's it. Everything is tucked away nice and neatly. Go ahead and reconnect this guy here. Push that back in, and our cabling is in. All right, lights are in, wires are in, batteries connected, lights work. Let's put the grill back on and we're done. Set this here. Install our parking brakes, exactly what we did to take them off, but backwards. There we go, fits in, pushes up. Align the clips on the bottom. Give it a little push. Little push. Little push and we're in. Let's grab our clips. Let's go ahead and close the hood. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the Oracle Oculus Colorshift lights install. I hope you enjoyed that. We really enjoyed it. I enjoyed showing you the 3 BC1 controllers so you can get a full visual of what these lights can do to get their full effect. And if you're interested in purchasing the Oracle Oculus Colorshift lights, please visit us at www.trail7.com. In the meantime, I'll see you in the trail.